in horizontal, which is different for me. We'll make it work. Um, okay, hi. I'm Lindsay Glass from Reach Out Recovery. And we've been developing this channel and decided to start doing some lives where we're going to talk about all of our different content. A lot of which actually goes viral, and I'm gonna talk about that in a moment. But the reason I really got motivated to start going live today and talking about recovery is because I got one of those texts today. And if you're somebody who is in recovery or cares about anybody in recovery, it is the text that you absolutely dread. And that is from a friend I grew up with, and she was texting to tell me that somebody we had grown up with had overdosed and died. And it's really always overwhelming for me, when this stuff happens. First, because this guy was, from a really good family. He was educated. I don't want to guess about his family situation, but this is somebody who had a lot of advantages in life. And what it always reminds me of is that alcoholism and addiction are really the only things that money can't protect you from. I'm just staggered always when somebody loses their life, whether they're young or old. And, today I'm very much thinking about his family and what they are absolutely going through, because whenever this happens, it's absolutely tragic. So let me back up a little bit, because at Reach Out Recovery, we started the company, and we started the company in 2011, and that is because we are a family in recovery. And when I got sober, there was not a lot out there. Well, there was no internet, so it was really just beginning at that time, and there was certainly no communities for recovery. There was nothing like that, so we didn't really know where to go for help. And as I went into recovery, other people in my family went into recovery, other people that we knew went into recovery. It became very important to us to create content that would help people in their recovery, because the truth is, this is a disease of isolation. This is one of the only diseases where it tells you you don't have a disease. So when you are fighting yourself to get better, you need every help to get sober, to stay sober. And having friends and family who can help, and having resources, and having a community are all really, really important. So just to share a little bit about me, I actually got sober for the first time when I was 21 years old. And then spent probably 8 years struggling with recovery. So I went through it. I was not a one chip wonder, as they call them. I was somebody that really had to go back out there and do a lot of research, and really try different things, and really confirm to myself and to everyone around me that I was definitely somebody that had addiction issues. So recovery was definitely a process for me, and I have respect for anybody in recovery, anybody who tries recovery, um, anybody who struggles with their recovery. I very much understand, and all I can say is stick with it, because today's landscape of drugs, I'm also a recovery advocate as well as a writer, and today's landscape of drugs, with fentanyl laced into pretty much everything, and the mixture of these really, really hard drugs together, it's very, very dangerous combination. And obviously we are seeing, while overdoses actually have dropped in the last year, which is just incredible, we still have an overdose problem in this country, and we definitely have a drug problem in this country. So any kind of recovery is good, but definitely if you can do the things that will help set you up for success, life will be a lot better. So that brings me back to Reach Out Recovery. This was a company that we started. We really just wanted to help remove the stigma of recovery. When we started it, if you remember the days when Britney Spears was shaving her head and on the cover of magazines, and that's really all you saw about recovery. And it was very stigmatized in the media, and we really felt that we could show people what recovery on the other side was like. So we started out making documentaries, and we made a couple of documentaries, and we started the website Reach Out Recovery. And check out reachoutrecovery.com. It has over 1,600 original articles on recovery, behavioral health, and relationships. So whether it's codependency, whether it's relapse prevention, whether it's learning about narcissism or enabling, or even dealing with financial troubles, we really run the gamut of recovery and behavioral health topics. We also really try and pay attention to trending topics so that we're reporting and writing about what's happening, what's current, what's in the news. So definitely check out our website. We have a fairly large social media following at Reach Out Recovery's Facebook page, our Instagram page. We have a TikTok. So definitely check those out. We do daily posts of all of our different recovery content. And definitely, whether you're looking for quotes, whether you're looking for infographics, whether you're looking for quick reads, just getting, as I call it, a shot in the arm of recovery can be incredibly, incredibly helpful to anybody's program as they're working on it. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is we do some lives, is sharing some of the content that we have on Reach Out Recovery that goes viral. So we have on this website, we have articles, and then we turn a lot of them into infographics, and those infographics go onto our Facebook, onto our Instagram, if we're paying attention to it, onto our Pinterest. And seriously, some of these get 5-6 million hits. So what I thought I would do today is just read the ones that have gone the most viral for us recently and talk a little bit about them. The first one I'm going to do, and forgive the title because it's a little, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But one of the trending topics this summer is actually something called Therapy Bro Summer. And even though it sounds silly, like I share it because the kid who passed away today, it's really important to take care of your mental health. And I don't know what he was going through, and I certainly have full compassion for what he was going through. But for anybody who is struggling, I'm gonna tell you why Therapy Bro Summer is right for you this summer. And I just want to back up by saying, I totally understand. I come from a family where we were all told to keep our feelings to ourselves, but particularly the men. The men were not encouraged to talk about how they feel or, ask for help or do the things that today we like everybody who's working on their mental health to do. So we know that a lot of this stuff goes against the grain. And truth be told, when I was getting sober, I didn't want to do any of this. I was resistant to all the things they wanted me to do. But it is in doing these things and in sitting in those tough feelings that we actually get through and we learn how to get better. So the tips for Therapy Bro Summer, 10 ways to get stronger from the inside out. And this is also an article on our website, and that's how it works. We do the article, we do the infographic, sometimes we do a quote, and now we'll be doing video. So the first one is book the damn session. You don't have to wait for a breakdown to get help. Therapy is training for your mind. Start the reps now. And I share this with you to say in recovery, we also say you don't have to wait for the elevator to hit rock bottom. You don't have to wait for it to crash to the cellar to make a decision to get off the elevator. And I think that's really important. Once you wait until you have a breakdown, then you've created a situation. But if you're struggling with something, if you have anxiety, if you're feeling bad, if something is sitting with you, if you're struggling with something at work or your work at all, if you're struggling in your romantic relationship, if you're struggling with your children, if you're just having a lot of anxiety or depression, which by the way is very normal for a lot of people, especially considering the world. It doesn't matter what your views are right now. The world is hectic, and we all are allowed to respond to it in the way that makes us feel comfortable and safe. So at Reach Out Recovery, we respect everybody, and we want everybody to feel safe. And our message is to embrace self-improvement and recovery because it works, and we know it works. Oh, hi, Grace. I just want to say, my colleague Grace was the one who encouraged me to start doing lives. So I'm glad she's on. It's nice to see you. And we have a podcast tomorrow. It is the Reach Out Recovery podcast. We will be interviewing animal influencer Alexandra Ash. She recently also lost a friend to suicide. It was that Fox influencer, if some of you know who that was. So she's going to come on, and Alexandra is going to talk about cyberbullying. She's going to talk about being an animal influencer, an animal rescuer, and what happens when you're viral animal. 11 a.m. PT, 2 p.m. ET on this channel. And we're going to talk about our own experiences with cyberbullying and give a little bit of tips about what to do if you are being cyberbullied. Okay, back to Therapy Bro Summer. The second tip is to talk it out. We know, again, not used to being told to talk it out, not encouraged to share your every thought or feeling. You might not want to, it might not feel comfortable. That's why professionals are really important. They can make it a lot easier. They are trained for whatever you bring to the table. So whether it's a coach or a therapist or an actual psychiatrist, it is very easy to find somebody you could talk to. And if you're not comfortable with the mental health profession and you're more of a spiritual or religious person, find a religious leader in your community. Find somebody at your local church or synagogue or whatever your religion is who might be able to help you. It doesn't have to be, I had a sponsor that used to say to me, you need to tell one person everything that's going on with you. It doesn't have to be your sponsor. It doesn't have to be your partner. It doesn't have to be a parent. But there needs to be somebody in your life that knows what's going on with you and can really be there for you and give you some feedback so you're able to have a reality check and you're not stuck in your own head with your own thoughts. Okay, the third tip is know your triggers. This is our specialty at Reach Out Recovery. We write all about this. It's also in our book, all about triggers, because in terms of the mother-daughter relationship, a lot of mothers and daughters have triggers. They don't know they have triggers. They're fighting constantly. And until they know what their triggers are, it's very, very hard to break those patterns. So we bring it to this list as well, like know your triggers. So if you understand what sets you off, you can respond instead of reacting. And I say that like I'm the first person, something happens and I'm going to react. It's very hard for me to pause, sit with my thoughts, but it's something that you practice. And with time, with practice, it becomes really intuitive. And to this, now today, I'm often the first one to say to myself or somebody else, hey, let's sleep on this before we make a decision. So knowing your triggers is really important. So just as like a few examples, if you walk in the door and people are already nagging you after you've had a long day of work, that is something that maybe you either talk to them about or you come in through the back door or you find some way, to make that process a little bit smoother. Nagging can be a huge trigger, and that's something that we talk about a lot. So again, as you get into conflict, as you get upset, start to look at what's happening and what's triggering that situation or who is triggering that situation. So the next one is drop the stigma. I mean, it's 2025. There really shouldn't be any stigma about getting mental health help. We all need it. Our brains are an organ just like everything else. They need to see the doctor too. So we absolutely say, and that's why we started Reach Out Recovery. Just so you know, when I got sober the first time, and I was in college and I had left school and I had to go back to school, and they basically told me not to tell anybody that I had had to leave and go to rehab, because in those days it might have affected my ability to finish schooling, my future, because there was so much stigma at that time. And you know what? Today, people are sober proudly. It's not anonymous for a lot of people. There are all kinds of sober companies. So there's no need to feel stigma around getting mental health help. And even if you do, there are lots of anonymous ways, from telehealth with a professional to, a trusted friend. There are ways to get help privately, and it should be private. This is a private thing. Okay, the next thing is to show up for people. So, one of the things that happens when we're going through a tough time, and we will be the first to admit it, is we get really kind of self centered. And that's not conceited. That means, just worried about ourselves, worried about what's going on. Sometimes the problems can be overwhelming. So, whether it's recovery or therapy bro summer, maybe this is a time you can show up for your partner, for your children, for somebody at work, and also show up for yourself. I mean, this is the fundamental number one, to show up for yourself, and that by doing this you will also be able to show up for all of those other people in a more meaningful, present way as well. So, next on the list is unpack your past. I know we don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. But you don't need to be ruled by old pain. You can find ways to talk about it, and understanding your history helps you to stop repeating it. So, again, I talk about this stuff because I am guilty, but if you are somebody who has found yourself in the same relationship, going to work for the same kinds of people, getting into the same kind of trouble financially, romantically, whatever it is, you might be reliving some patterns that you want to talk to somebody about, because it might be more of a simple thing, a simple fix than you think it is. We think these things are insurmountable, but when somebody gets through to you, when a mental health professional can get through to you, and that light bulb goes off, and you say, oh, wow, I'm doing this because I didn't get enough attention from this when I was a kid, and it really can help you change your behavior, because with clarity comes change. Because you don't want to be that person anymore. You don't want to act that way anymore. Okay, the next one is set real boundaries. Protecting your time, energy, and peace isn't selfish. We say no without guilt. So basically, boundaries come in all different shapes and forms. They can be physical, they can be time, they can be emotional, they can be financial. So if somebody is asking too much of you, a time boundary is saying, no, I really don't have time to do that today. It's really interfering with my other schedule. A financial boundary is when somebody is asking you for money or is spending too much in the family, and you really have to bring down the hammer and say, hey, you know what? No, I can't lend you money, or we have to go and stay on a budget, or there are going to be consequences if this behavior doesn't stop. Emotional boundaries are really more about if somebody's making you feel bad, if somebody's stressing you out, then you have the right to say things or do things in a polite, clear, and honest way. And this is where say what you mean, but don't say it mean comes in. But this is the place for that, to communicate and say what the issue is and set the boundary. Next on the list, and one more of these that doesn't come naturally to many of us, and that is the feel your feelings. And it's actually a tough thing to do if you don't have a lot of experience with it. So this is, again, where a professional can really help you unlock what's going on. And here's the truth. Emotions aren't weakness. Learning to sit with them makes you more grounded and not less manly. So I don't think any woman would disagree that a man who can communicate his feelings is actually like a really powerful and strong man. Okay, next on the list is get uncomfortable. Okay, so none of this is fun. And we don't advertise it as fun, but it's important and it's so worth it. And actually, it's satisfying. And for us, satisfying sometimes is better than fun. So, the best thing about self improvement and the kind of self improvement we do here is you will see change. We are really into actionable tips. And if you do them and you practice them and you do these things for 30, 60, 90 days and you actually take notes and pay attention, you will see changes in your life. And even sometimes if you don't see them, other people around you will. And that also is the ripple effect of recovery and self improvement, is that when you change, other people change around you. And if you don't believe us, we dare you to try it. Okay, the final one on the list for Therapy Bro Summer, number 10, keep showing up. Change takes consistency. One session won't fix everything, but sticking with it will change everything. So that's just what I was getting at. When I was doing all of this self-improvement work in a very intense way about 10 years ago, one of the books that somebody gave me to read was The Happiness Advantage by Sean Anker. And in it, he gives a list of activities that you have to do, I think, for 90 days. And they include, I can't remember exactly, but a gratitude list, and you have to write down what was good about your day, 3 things you're looking forward to. And it was just a bunch of different things that went on from there. But what it did was it focused your mind every single day on the positive instead of the negative. So for somebody like me who can get very negative, I actually had to rewire my brain and practice these things. And believe me, when I don't do it, I'll wake up and be negative. But if I start doing it again, there's muscle memory there and it'll come back really, really quickly. So that is my list for Therapy Bro Summer. And because I actually have a call with Grace to talk about our podcast, which is again tomorrow on this channel or Grace's YouTube channel. I think it's the State of Grace Fraga, but I don't want to say the wrong thing and then get in trouble. I will put it in the comments. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to get on today and remind everybody, don't be like the guy that I grew up with that overdosed today. Make the call, get the help, let somebody know if you're struggling, because the consequences are really bad. The family's going to struggle. As a recovery advocate, I've seen this over and over for 20 years. And a lot of hearts are going to be broken over this. And it didn't have to go down like this. So if you know there's something better out there for you, then definitely take a moment to think about how you can bring recovery, self-improvement, and possibly even a little bit of therapy into your life. So you can find us at reachoutrecovery.com. Check us out, check out our articles, find us on Facebook and Instagram, and we will be back to you with more lives soon, if I can figure out how to stop it.